All right, so our big test. We're gonna see how well you can do to start off the year if you don't know all the answers. That we're asking for are pretty basic, they're pretty easy, but I do want you to write as full of descriptions as you can. So think of this like language arts class as far as writing down a lot of stuff and giving me a lot of answers and examples and all kinds of stuff like that, okay? You guys ready? I'll turn down this front light so we can see the screen even better because the directions are up here at front. All right. So, great big social studies test. Give your best answer in 1 page or more. And there are going to be several questions, so this will take pretty much the hour of just question, writing a bunch, question, writing a bunch. All right, you guys ready? You don't want just a sentence. You want to do as much as you can. All right? Yes? All right. Hey, Colin. Just have a seat somewhere where there's nobody else. And I'll have you get out a piece of paper and a pencil. We're about to start taking a test. While Colin's doing that, I'll remind you to make sure that you are putting down your very best answers and giving me all the explanation you can, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that you already know about, we hope, and you'll be able to fill pages and pages of information here, okay? All right, so question number 1. Analyze and discern the properties of the countless bicolored, polycolored, and monocolored organisms that you've learned about in your academic careers. So I'll give you some time to write on that one, and we'll go on. I'll go through all the questions first, and then you can take your time and answer each one. How do they differ? Evaluate which should be internal, which should be external. Which organism would you advocate as superior or inferior? Feel free to elaborate on the most significant factor that shaped your decision and why it was so influential. So this whole thing, if you wanted to do each one, like number 1 and answer it, number 2 answer it, you could do that. Or you could put the whole thing into a big essay if you wanted to. But I know you guys have lots of stuff that you want to write down about it, so I'm going to get quiet and let you guys get started. Yeah. What's it mean? Well, analyze and discern the properties of the countless bicolored, polycolored, monocolored organisms that you've learned about in your academic careers. That's pretty easy, right? You never heard of any of that? You guys didn't do this last year?
No, not in my school.
Not in your school? Well, what in the world did you guys do all last year? Whew, wow, that was kind of intense, wasn't it? Did the directions make you a little bit confused and nervous? Yeah, I could see it. Even with your mask on, I could see it. Was this task difficult? Yeah? Okay. What the directions really want you to do? Well, there was your first set of directions, and I put probably a lot of the hard words in red. And if we just kind of translated that, what it's really asking you to do is to tell me about the animals that are 1 color, 2 colors, or many colors. Can you guys think of an animal that's 1 color?
Yeah.
Can you think of an animal that has 2 colors on it? Yeah. Can you think of an animal that has many colors on it? I want you to think back to all the animals you learned about since you started preschool or kindergarten. That was your academic career. I wanted you to tell me how they may be alike and how they may be different from each other. So if your many-colored animal was a butterfly, how was that different from your single-colored black panther? Okay, could you tell me the difference between a butterfly and a panther? Now I'm hoping that you can, okay? That's for real. So you can tell me about a house cat, a tiger, and a polecat. There's some similarities and some differences, right? How do they differ was the next set of directions. What do you think that even means?
Different?
Yeah, really. We use that a lot. Differ means different. Tell me ways they're different. You could have a koala bear, a grizzly bear, or a sun bear, and there are some differences between those, right? Evaluate which should be internal, which should be external. What do you think that's actually meaning? Let's try to break that one down. Evaluate which should be internal and which should be external. Any idea what any of those red words mean? Yeah, what do you think?
Evaluate means figure out.
Figure it out is a good way to put it. Figure out which should be internal, which should be external. Have you ever heard of anything that's internal or external?
Yeah, like internal is inside and
External is outside. So which animals should you keep indoors and which ones should be outdoors? Your farm pig probably ought to be outdoors. Your warthog definitely needs to be outdoors, but your guinea pig could be indoors. Which organism would you advocate as superior or inferior? How about those red words? What do you think?
superior means
Number one, better, right? So if we're looking for superior or inferior, what do you think inferior means then?
not as strong.
Not as good. So something's better, something's worse. What do the other two red words mean? Yeah.
Organism means animal.
Okay, so the animals we're talking about, which animal would you advocate? What's it mean to advocate then? Kind of a choice, but if you're advocating for something, you're telling people that this is why they should agree with you. Which animal is best or worst? Or not as good? Feel free to elaborate on the most significant factor that shaped your decision and why it was so influential. What do you think that one's asking you? Yeah, what do you think?
Like by shape, like forming your decision.
Okay, so it helped you make that decision, right? There are things that shape your life, things that shape your decision. Those are the factors that make you what you are. Anything about elaborate or significant factor or influential? Yeah.
Influential means like the one that you choose.
Okay, the one that you decided to choose, right? What influenced you that? So it's really saying, what's the most important piece of information that makes you feel that way about the animal? Also tell me why that information was so important. So if you had to organize them into best versus worst, what did you use to decide that? That's all it's asking you. What were the characteristics? So what were your reasons? Did you say any of those would be your reasons that you would say that one animal is better or worse? Once you knew what all the difficult words were, was this really a very hard test? I asked you to list some animals and tell me a little bit about them. I'm pretty sure that I could do that. If we worded it correctly, I think I could go down to the kindergarten class and they could do that for us, right? So when you take the analyze, discern, all that, and you tell me facts about an animal, makes things a lot easier. How do they differ becomes how are they different, so on and so on, to where if we rewrote the directions a little bit differently, this would have been a very easy test for you to do today.
Wait, did you expect us not to do it?
I expected you to freak out like you did.
But what if one of the classmates didn't? Like, got everything?
It could happen.
So it's a trick question.
Not so much a trick question, but it is meant for me to be able to show you that if you understood the words, the actions are very easy. And this is exactly what trips up a lot of students on a test, whether it's my test, the M-STEP test, the NWEA test, whatever it is, if you don't understand the words in the directions, you can't do it, can you? So what we need to work on are some of these words that aren't necessarily social studies words. Okay, they're not capitals of a country, they're not names of famous people, but they're words that you need to be able to understand so that you can understand the directions that might be in the book, might be on a test, might be in life. Okay, so we're going to work on some vocabulary. Some common but difficult words. So what I'm going to have you guys do, by the way, the test is over. You guys all passed. You passed by failing. Each of you will draw a 6-frame summary of the 6 words on your list. I'm going to give you a list, and each of you will probably have, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay. Several of you will have different lists. Some of you will have the same list. But you'll have a list of 6 words. And what I want you to try to do is put the word on a piece of paper and then draw a picture that means that word. It's hard. It's a hard thing to do. But what that does is it makes you think about that word. Okay? If the word was cat, pretty easy to draw a cat, right? But if the word is superior, that was one of the things in the directions, right? It was one of those red words in the directions. Now draw a picture of superior. That gets a little bit harder because it's a concept. So those are the things we're going to be doing, okay? And I do know that they're difficult, but that's why we're going to work on it for a couple of days. Each frame should have the word written at the bottom and a full picture that explains what that word means. And by full picture, I mean that if your frame is this big, your picture shouldn't be a teeny tiny little thing down here in the bottom. Okay, fill up the frame. Feel free to divide your squares into smaller sections, like a comic strip. So if you wanted to, let me do this real quick. Oh, this has changed. There we go. All right, so you're going to get a big piece of paper, roughly like this. And you're going to fold it along lines roughly like that. And you're going to get 6 frames. You're going to have 6 words to draw. Let's say one of your words is superior. You put the word at the bottom of the frame. And then in that frame, you draw something that shows that you know what superior means. I'm saying that if you wanted to, you could divide this box even smaller and have several things happening so I can see that you know what superior means. That's all I mean by that, okay? So you can do it like a comic strip if that helps you explain it. You can use thought bubbles, call out bubbles. So again, if you had somebody in here, and stick people are perfectly fine as long as they look like stick people. And that person could be saying something. Okay, if that helps you explain what the word is, you can do that. Again, stick figures are acceptable. Square should not include any dictionary or Google definition written out. You're not writing the definition, you're drawing the definition. It's way harder. Okay? Now, I say that stick figures are perfectly fine, but they need to look like a stick figure. Something like that. Not, whoops, not that. Okay? I'm not an artist. I don't expect you to be an artist, but I can tell the difference between sloppy and not trying versus someone who just doesn't have talent. Because that's me. Now I'm going to put this on the classroom in just a moment. You can scroll down through those directions again. You can look at what they meant and how I explained them. But when you get to this slide, if you click on this hyperlink, it'll take you to a little video of me showing you how to fold that piece of paper to get it to be 6 frames. Okay? Do any of you have a ruler with you today? A couple? Okay. You can do it without a ruler, but in the video I use a ruler. But that's okay. If you don't have one, you're just going to kind of guess it a little bit. And I'll show you how to do that, okay? Be sure to fill your frame, spell correctly, be accurate, stay neat, color completely. So this would be a great place if you haven't bought those colored pencils yet. You're probably going to want to get a set so you can start doing the coloring, because coloring is going to be part of that complete grade. The best definitions are going to be posted on our word wall that we're going to use all year for a reference. So I'm going to put all those words back here, and underneath each one I'm going to put the best drawing of each one. And then we'll leave those up there so that when we get to that word, you can just look back at that word wall and understand what it means again. Okay? So let me get the lists posted. Let me get this posted. You guys look at that video. I'm going to hand out paper as well over there. I'll hand that out. And you'll have the rest of the hour to get your ideas and get started on how to do this. Tomorrow, when you're at home, you can continue working on it. You should be done with it by Friday. Now, you're not going to come to my house and turn it in on Friday. But I try to set things up so that you don't have homework on a weekend. Okay, I don't want you to have homework on a weekend. So that's why I'm saying finish it Friday. Do what you want to do on Saturday, Sunday. On Monday, bring it back to school and turn it in. All right? Make sense to everybody as far as your due date? Okay, well, let me stop talking and let me get stuff posted so you can get to work. Material. All right, so the big test is posted. I also want you to, I'm just going to number you off here real quick. Remember your number. So we're going to start up here with a 1. You're going to be a 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to go to 1 again, 2. So that's your group number, okay? I'll get you your code in just a second. If you look in Classroom, you'll see it says non-vocabulary words or something like that, non-content vocabulary. These are the group 1 words, group 2's words, 3's, 4's, and 5's. Okay, so you've got that. Actually, I think I invited you, so you should be all set. Okay, I'll be right over there then. So whichever group I just numbered you as, those are your words that you're going to draw. Some are much harder than others, I will tell you that. So you've got that, and some people still have not completed the exit ticket that was due yesterday, so you want to make sure you go back and do that as well, okay? Also, because of the little instructional video, remember the other thing I suggested everybody get was a set of earbuds. This would be the time to break out the earbuds so that we're not hearing my beautiful melodious voice 6 times in a row in here. Okay. If you don't have that, there's a couple things you can do. You can turn on closed caption, or you can turn it way, way, way down so only you can barely hear it.